Millionaire CEO was mistaken for an intern by his new secretary. His response shocked everyone. Before we dive into the story, drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Olivia Thompson didn't have time to panic. It was her first day as secretary at Blackwood Enterprises, and fate was already working against her. The system was down, employees running around like headless chickens. The server crashed. "Everything's gone!" someone yelled. "All my files are missing!" cried another. Olivia rubbed her temples. First morning, and it already felt like she was in charge of the Titanic. She grabbed the phone and dialed IT support. "Busy line." Tried again. Nothing. "Wonderful. Digital apocalypse on day one," she muttered. That's when a tall, well-dressed man walked into the office. Impeccable suit, polished shoes, calm expression. He stood watching the chaos with arms crossed as if this were just a normal Tuesday. Olivia didn't waste time. "Finally! You took forever to get here." She marched up to him. "The system is down, and it's chaos. Fix it now." The man raised an eyebrow, clearly surprised. "Excuse me? Excuse me nothing. I said fix it." She emphasized each word. "Before I get fired, before even finding the bathroom." He laughed softly, looking more entertained than worried. "What if I told you I can't fix it?" Olivia sighed dramatically. "Great. First day and they send me a clueless IT guy. Look, I've already wasted 5 minutes with you. If you don't want to work, at least pretend to care." The man seemed to enjoy this even more. "Is that what I'm supposed to do? Pretend to care?" "Yes, and work on that computer like you're solving the cure for cancer." He shook his head with an ironic smile. "All right, here we go." Olivia shoved him into a chair. "Hurry up." The man adjusted his suit, sighed theatrically, and started typing. Olivia watched his every move. "Wow, so slow. Are you typing with one finger? You need to be patient. You need to be fast. This isn't an IT course for seniors." 5 minutes later. "Well? Finished?" "Almost. My grandfather could fix this before taking his nap." The man looked up at her, clearly amused. "Was your grandfather in IT?" "No, but even he would know you're stalling." The man laughed, pressed a single key, and suddenly all screens returned to normal. The office breathed a collective sigh of relief. "Finally!" Olivia clapped. "That wasn't so hard, was it?" As he stood adjusting his watch, a breathless man in a gray suit rushed in. "Mr. Mitchell! Everyone's waiting for you in the boardroom, sir." Olivia froze. "Mr. Mitchell. Boardroom. Sir." The information exploded in her mind. This wasn't the IT guy. This was Ryan Mitchell, the CEO of Blackwood Enterprises. The silence was deafening. Ryan turned to her with a sly smile. "Miss Thompson, any more orders for me, or are you satisfied now?" Olivia felt the world crumble beneath her feet. Olivia felt her face burning with humiliation. The entire office had witnessed her treating the CEO like an incompetent intern. Time seemed to freeze as Ryan Mitchell stood before her, clearly enjoying her discomfort. "Mr. Mitchell, she began, but words failed her. "Sir, the board is still waiting," his assistant reminded anxiously. Ryan kept his amused gaze fixed on Olivia. "Miss Thompson, you'll join us in the meeting." "What?" she whispered, horrified. "Since you're so good at giving orders, I want you to explain to the board what happened with our system." Olivia followed him through the hallway on wobbly legs, feeling the stares of her colleagues burning into her back. This was it. Her career over before it began. "Sir, I really don't think it's necessary for me to, but I think it is." Ryan cut her off smoothly. In the elevator, an awkward silence hung between them until Ryan spoke. "You know, you're the first person to ever drag me into fixing a computer." Olivia covered her face with her hands. "Please stop reminding me." He chuckled. "I wouldn't want to." The boardroom was imposing, filled with stern-faced executives in expensive suits. When they entered, everyone stood respectfully. "Gentlemen," Ryan announced, Before we begin, our new secretary, Miss Thompson, would like to share how she solved our system issue this morning." 20 pairs of eyes focused on her at once. Olivia swallowed hard, then took a deep breath. "Well," she said, forcing herself to maintain eye contact, "I mistook the CEO for an IT technician and made him fix our computer system." One of the directors dropped his pen in shock. Another nearly choked on his water. Ryan smiled. "And quite efficiently, I might add." A director cleared his throat, failing to hide his amusement. "Mr. Mitchell, perhaps we should reconsider Miss Thompson's position? IT department seems fitting." Laughter rippled through the room while Olivia wished the floor would swallow her whole. The meeting proceeded, but Olivia heard nothing. Her mind was consumed with calculating how quickly she could update her resume. When it finally ended, she waited for everyone to leave before attempting her escape. "Miss Thompson," Ryan called, "come to my office afterward." Her heart sank further. 20 minutes later, she knocked timidly on his door. "Enter." Ryan sat behind his massive desk, emanating authority. He gestured for her to sit. "So, Miss Thompson," he began, "quite an unconventional first day. Mr. Mitchell, I sincerely apologize." He raised his hand to stop her. "Your attitude today showed me something interesting." Olivia held her breath. "That I'm impulsive?" "That you're determined, direct, and unafraid to take charge," he replied. "I need someone like that by my side." Olivia blinked in confusion. "Excuse me? I'm promoting you. Starting today, you'll be my personal assistant." She stared at him, waiting for the punchline. "Is this a joke?" "I never joke about business decisions," Ryan said, his expression serious. "Unless you'd prefer to decline?" Olivia considered her options. Refuse and likely lose her job, or accept and work directly with the man she just humiliated herself in front of. "I accept," she said finally. Ryan smiled with satisfaction. "Perfect. Your first assignment is on my desk. A charity dinner in 3 days that needs organizing." As Olivia left his office with the folder clutched tightly to her chest, she couldn't help but wonder if this promotion was actually a cleverly disguised punishment. Olivia left Ryan's office clutching the charity dinner folder like it contained nuclear launch codes. A high-profile event in just 3 days? With no experience? This had to be some elaborate punishment disguised as an opportunity. Back at her desk, whispers and stares followed her. Word had spread quickly about the morning's disaster and her unexpected promotion. "I heard you survived," said Diana, a kind-faced receptionist, pulling up a chair. "Tell me, how was your execution?" Olivia collapsed into her chair. "He didn't fire me." "Well, he promoted me," Olivia interrupted. "To his personal assistant." Diana's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. "That's impossible." "Why?" "Mr. Mitchell never keeps personal assistants. He fires them before they even settle in." A chill ran down Olivia's spine. "So why me?" Before anyone could answer, her phone rang. "Miss Thompson," the receptionist said, "Mr. Mitchell wants to see you immediately." The office fell silent as Olivia stood, feeling like she was walking to her doom. In Ryan's office, he was reviewing documents without looking up. "You called for me?" she asked. "Yes." "Sit." Olivia perched nervously on the edge of the chair. "Your first challenge," he said, sliding a folder toward her. "The charity dinner. This is in 3 days," she pointed out after scanning the documents. "Yes." "And you're giving it to me now?" "Yes." Olivia felt panic rising. "Mr. Mitchell." He raised his hand to stop her. "Challenges are part of the job. If you can handle this without me worrying about it, I'll know I made the right choice." She took a deep breath. "Okay, I'll take care of it." As she reached the door, his voice stopped her. "Oh, and Olivia? You're more interesting than I expected." Over the next hours, Olivia ran around the office like a hurricane. The decorator had quit, the band had cancelled, and the invitations were delayed. Each call brought a new crisis. By afternoon, she returned to Ryan's office for an update. The decorator quit, the band cancelled, the menu isn't approved, and the invitations haven't been sent, she reported. And I haven't slept since I started dealing with this. Ryan rested his chin on his hands, a small smile playing on his lips. So basically, it's all a disaster? Basically. She expected him to gloat, but instead, he picked up his phone. George, I want those dinner invitations on my desk by end of day. No excuses. He hung up and looked at her. The rest you can handle. That's it. Were you expecting a motivational speech? I was hoping for at least a good luck. Ryan tilted his head slightly. You don't need luck. You need coffee. Despite herself, Olivia laughed. That's the first sensible thing you've said today. You're doing better than I thought, he admitted. So you don't think I'm going to fail miserably? Not yet. Wow, what an inspiring vote of confidence. Ryan just smiled, clearly enjoying himself, as Olivia left to continue battling impossibilities. What she didn't see was the tall, elegant woman watching from around the corner, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palm. Victoria Hayes had never seen Ryan smile that way at an assistant before, and she didn't like it one bit. For the next 2 days, Olivia worked nonstop. She barely slept, surviving on coffee and determination. She secured a new decorator, convinced a popular local band to perform on short notice, and finalized the menu after 3 heated arguments with the chef. On the day of the event, she arrived early at the hotel ballroom, checking every detail obsessively. The tables were elegantly set, the lighting perfect, and even the napkins were folded identically. Exhausted but satisfied, she took a moment to appreciate what she'd accomplished. Well, you've made it this far, a deep voice said behind her. Olivia turned to find Ryan in a perfectly tailored tuxedo that made her suddenly conscious of her own appearance. She'd managed to change into a simple black dress but hadn't had time for much else. It's not over yet, she replied. There's still time for something to blow up. Ryan raised an eyebrow. An optimistic view. Realistic, she corrected. Before their conversation could continue, a frantic waiter approached. Miss Thompson, the chef is threatening to walk out. He says someone changed the main course at the last minute. Olivia closed her eyes briefly. Give me 2 minutes. She hurried to the kitchen, where she found the chef gesturing wildly. I spent 3 days planning this menu, and now I have to change everything? Impossible! What exactly is the problem? Olivia asked, maintaining her composure. A VIP guest is allergic to the main dish. An assistant explained timidly. Olivia spotted a tray of salmon for the appetizers. Why not create a special plate for that guest using the salmon? The rest of the menu stays the same. The chef considered this. That could work. Crisis averted, Olivia returned to the ballroom where Ryan waited, looking amused. Did you save dinner? The chef wanted to quit, but I convinced him to stay, she said, trying not to sound as exhausted as she felt. Ryan handed her a glass of champagne. To your first big event. They clinked glasses, and Olivia took a grateful sip. As guests began to arrive, she slipped back into work mode, greeting people, solving minor issues, and ensuring everything ran smoothly. The event was going perfectly until she noticed a striking woman approaching Ryan. Tall, elegant, with sharp features and calculating eyes, she moved with the confidence of someone who owned the room. Ryan, darling, the woman said, kissing his cheek familiarly. Magnificent event. Victoria. Ryan nodded. Olivia organized everything. Olivia Thompson, meet Victoria Hayes, my business partner. Victoria's eyes assessed Olivia coldly. So you're the new assistant everyone's talking about. Ryan never mentioned how young you are. Thank you for coming, Ms. Hayes, Olivia replied professionally, refusing to be intimidated. Victoria smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I hear you've had quite the first week. Ordering the CEO around? Bold strategy. Victoria, Ryan warned quietly. What? I'm impressed, Victoria said, her tone suggesting anything but. You must be special to have lasted this long as Ryan's assistant. He usually goes through them so quickly. Olivia felt her confidence waver. Victoria slipped her arm through Ryan's. "The senator is waiting to speak with you, darling. You know how important he is to our expansion plans." As they walked away, Victoria glanced back with a triumphant smile that made one thing crystal clear: she had just met her enemy. The charity dinner was a resounding success. Despite Victoria's attempts to monopolize Ryan's attention throughout the evening, Olivia had managed every crisis flawlessly. As the last guest departed, she kicked off her heels under a table and collapsed into a chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. "So, how do you feel?" Ryan asked, appearing beside her with 2 champagne flutes. "Like I ran a marathon in stilettos," she replied, accepting the drink gratefully. "You did a good job," he said, his tone surprisingly sincere. Olivia's eyes widened. "Was that an actual compliment?" "Just stating facts," Ryan replied with a hint of amusement. "The important thing is you understood it was a compliment." She rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress a smile. "Right." Ryan checked his watch. "Get some rest. Tomorrow at 8 a.m., I want you in my office. We have new projects to discuss." "Don't you ever take a break?" she groaned. "No," he said simply. "Good night, Olivia." It was the first time he'd used her first name, and something about the way he said it made her pause. Before she could analyze the feeling, he was gone, leaving her wondering what strange universe she'd stumbled into where humiliating your boss led to promotion and, whatever this was. The next morning, despite her body's protests, Olivia arrived at the office at 7:55 a.m. The whispers and stares had intensified overnight. She ignored them and headed straight for Ryan's office. "You're late," he said when she entered, despite the clock showing 8:03. "3 minutes doesn't count," she replied, settling into the chair across from his desk. "If you were in an important meeting, would 3 minutes late still be considered on time?" Olivia sighed in defeat. "Point taken." Ryan slid another folder across the desk. "Your new task. I need you to review these contracts before Friday's investor meeting." She opened the folder and found complex legal documents filled with business jargon. "What exactly am I looking for?" "Inconsistencies, loopholes, anything that could be used against us." He leaned forward, studying her reaction. "You'll be attending the meeting." "I'm not a lawyer," she protested. "You have good instincts. I want to see how you use them." As she left his office, Olivia nearly collided with Victoria Hayes. The woman's perfect appearance made Olivia painfully aware of her own rushed morning routine. "Well, if it isn't Ryan's new pet project," Victoria said, her smile venomous. "Enjoying your temporary promotion?" "Good morning, Miss Hayes," Olivia replied professionally. Victoria stepped closer. "A word of advice? Don't get comfortable. Ryan gets bored easily, especially with assistants who think they're special." "Thank you for your concern," Olivia said evenly. "But I'm focused on my work, not office politics." Victoria laughed coldly. "How adorable. You actually think this is about your work." She brushed past Olivia, calling over her shoulder. "Give it 2 weeks. That's my prediction." Olivia returned to her desk, Victoria's words echoing in her mind. Was this job just another one of Ryan's tests? And if so, what exactly was he testing her for? Olivia spent the entire day poring over the contracts Ryan had given her. Despite her lack of legal training, she found herself identifying several concerning clauses that could potentially be exploited. She marked each one carefully, making detailed notes in the margins. By 7 p.m., most employees had left, but Olivia remained hunched over her desk, determined to finish. Her stomach growled, reminding her she'd skipped lunch. "Do you usually work this late?" Olivia jumped at Ryan's voice. He stood observing her from his office doorway. "I needed to finish these," she replied, stretching her stiff shoulders. "You could have done it tomorrow. I prefer to be thorough the first time." Ryan approached, examining her work. His eyes widened slightly as he reviewed her notes. "You found the hidden clause in Section 12? The one that would allow Millennium Holdings to back out without penalty?" "Yes." It's cleverly worded but obvious if you're paying attention. Impressive, he said quietly. Olivia smiled. Was that an actual compliment? Don't get used to it. He glanced at his watch. Are you hungry? The question caught her off guard. What? It's a simple question. Are you hungry? Yes, but I'm going to dinner. You can join me and tell me more about these inconsistencies. Olivia narrowed her eyes. Is this another test? If you want to consider it that way. She sighed. Whatever. As long as food's involved. Minutes later, she found herself in Ryan's sleek sports car, heading toward downtown. They pulled up at a restaurant so exclusive Olivia had only read about it in magazines. This is the kind of place where a salad costs more than my rent, she muttered as the valet took Ryan's keys. Inside, the maitre d' greeted him by name. Mr. Mitchell, your usual table is ready. They were seated in a private corner. A waiter immediately appeared with wine. Your usual, sir? Olivia raised an eyebrow. Do you have reserved tables at every restaurant in the city? Ryan took a sip of wine. I'm treated like royalty everywhere. You really have an indestructible ego, don't you? It's not ego. It's reality. Olivia opened the menu and nearly choked at the prices. A simple steak costs half my salary. Choose whatever you want, Ryan said. I brought you here, didn't I? Yes, but you've also thrown me into impossible challenges before. I'm not sure I trust your sudden kindness. Ryan chuckled. I just want to hear more about those contracts. The food arrived, and Olivia had to admit it was incredible. As they ate, the conversation shifted from work to more personal topics. Ryan seemed different here, more relaxed, less intimidating. Why did you promote me? She asked suddenly. The real reason? Ryan studied her for a long moment. Everyone in my life says yes to everything I want. You're the first person in years to challenge me directly. So I'm just entertainment? You're interesting, Olivia Thompson. Before she could respond, Olivia noticed a familiar figure watching them from across the restaurant. Victoria Hayes sat at the bar, her gaze cold and calculating as it moved between them. Ryan followed her line of sight and his expression hardened momentarily. Ignore her. She doesn't seem to like me very much. Victoria doesn't like anyone who has my attention, he said simply. Are you too? Olivia left the question hanging. We dated briefly years ago. Now we're business partners. Nothing more. But the way Victoria was watching them suggested she had a very different perspective on their relationship, and on Olivia's place in Ryan's life. Olivia arrived early, determined to avoid Victoria's piercing gaze. She reviewed her notes on the contracts one final time before heading to Ryan's office for their morning meeting. I've identified 7 potential issues, she announced, placing her folder on his desk. The most concerning is Section 4.3, where the language could allow them to terminate without financial penalties. Ryan examined her work, his expression unreadable. You've done this before? No, but I read everything carefully. Words matter. He nodded, seemingly satisfied. Good. The investor meeting is tomorrow at 9. Be prepared to discuss your findings. As Olivia turned to leave, Ryan added, By the way, there's a company report on your desk. I need you to review it by this afternoon. Back at her desk, Olivia found the report, a thick financial analysis that would normally take days to review. She sighed but dove in immediately, determined to prove herself. Hours later, something caught her attention. The numbers in the quarterly projections didn't match the supporting data. She double-checked her work, then headed to Ryan's office. There's a discrepancy in the financial projections, she began. Ryan frowned. That's impossible. Victoria prepared those herself. Page 42. The revenue forecast doesn't match the actual calculations. He examined the page, his frown deepening. You're right. This would have been a disaster if presented to investors. As if summoned by her name, Victoria appeared in the doorway. Ryan, darling, I need to. She stopped when she saw Olivia. Oh. You're busy. Actually, we were just discussing the financial report. Ryan said. There seems to be an error in your projections. Victoria's perfect smile didn't waver. That's impossible. I triple-checked everything. Page 42, Olivia said, pointing to the discrepancy. Victoria glanced at the numbers, her expression hardening momentarily before she laughed. Oh, that must have been from an earlier draft. How careless of me. She took the report. I'll fix it immediately. After Victoria left, Olivia couldn't shake her uneasiness. That was strange. These aren't draft errors. The formulas were deliberately altered. Ryan studied her. That's a serious accusation. I'm just stating facts, Olivia replied, using his own phrase against him. Later that afternoon, Olivia overheard Victoria speaking to a colleague near the break room. Poor Ryan. He's too kind to see what's happening. This new assistant is completely incompetent, questioning documents she doesn't understand. Olivia pressed herself against the wall, listening. Did you hear what happened at the charity dinner? Total disaster. Only Ryan's connections saved it. Olivia felt her cheeks burn. The event had been perfect, she'd made sure of it. Between us, Victoria continued, lowering her voice, Ryan told me he's just keeping her around because he feels sorry for her. She'll be gone within the month. Olivia's confidence wavered. Was that true? Was she just a charity case? As she turned to leave, she nearly collided with Diana. Don't listen to her, Diana whispered. Victoria does this to every woman who gets close to Ryan. Why would she care? Diana raised an eyebrow. Because Victoria doesn't want to be just his business partner. She never has. The investor meeting approached quickly. Olivia spent the night rehearsing what she'd say if called upon, determined not to let Victoria's mind games affect her performance. When morning arrived, she chose her outfit carefully, a navy blue suit that projected confidence without being flashy. She arrived at the conference room 30 minutes early to prepare, arranging folders and checking the presentation equipment. Planning to run the meeting yourself? Ryan's voice startled her. Just making sure everything's perfect, she replied. Nervous? No. The lie was obvious. Ryan smiled slightly. You don't need to be. Just follow my lead. As executives and investors filed in, Olivia noted Victoria's entrance. She wore a stunning red dress that made Olivia's conservative suit feel painfully inadequate. Victoria's eyes swept over her dismissively before she took a seat directly beside Ryan. The meeting began with Ryan's overview of the company's direction. Victoria occasionally interjected, her hand casually touching Ryan's arm whenever she spoke. The territorial display wasn't subtle. When they reached the contract discussion, Ryan surprised everyone. Olivia Thompson, my assistant, identified several critical issues in these documents. Miss Thompson, please explain. Victoria's smile froze as Olivia stood, momentarily paralyzed by the unexpected spotlight. Then her training kicked in. She detailed each problematic clause clearly and confidently, suggesting specific revisions. The lead investor, an older gentleman named Harold Jenkins, looked impressed. Sharp analysis, young lady. Where did you study law? I didn't, sir, Olivia admitted. I just read carefully. Sometimes fresh eyes see what experts miss, Harold replied, nodding appreciatively. When Olivia sat down, she caught Victoria's glacial stare. If looks could kill, she'd be 6 feet under. After the meeting, Ryan pulled her aside. Well done. Thank you, she replied, still buzzing from the unexpected success. Don't thank me yet, he warned. We're flying to Chicago tomorrow for meetings with regional directors. Pack for 3 days. Olivia's eyes widened. 3 days? Problem? No, just surprised. Be at the airport at 6 a.m., he said, walking away before she could respond. That evening, as Olivia packed for the trip, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Enjoying your little victory? Don't get comfortable. Ryan always tires of his toys eventually. She didn't need to guess who sent it. The next morning at the airport, Olivia found Ryan already waiting at the gate, reviewing documents. She sat beside him, maintaining professional distance despite her churning stomach. This would be her first business trip, 3 days in close proximity with Ryan, away from the office dynamics. Their flight was called, but just as they prepared to board, Ryan's phone rang. His expression darkened as he listened. "What do you mean cancelled?" he demanded. "We confirmed yesterday." Olivia watched as frustration etched deeper into his features. "Fine. Reschedule for next week." He hung up, clearly irritated. "The Chicago meetings were just cancelled. All of them." "That's strange." Olivia frowned. "Should we head back to the office?" Ryan checked his watch. "No. There's a client in Detroit we've been trying to meet. We'll fly there instead." As they changed their plans, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that Victoria's hand was behind the sudden cancellations. This power game was escalating, and somehow, she'd become the battlefield. The Detroit trip proved eventful in ways Olivia hadn't anticipated. Their hastily arranged meeting with the potential client was successful, but a severe thunderstorm grounded all flights afterward, forcing them to stay an extra night. "The hotel only had one room available," Ryan announced, returning from the reception desk. "But it has 2 beds," he added quickly, seeing Olivia's expression. The situation was awkward, but professional. They worked late in the hotel restaurant, reviewing contracts and strategy. Without Victoria's presence or office politics, Ryan seemed more relaxed, even laughing at Olivia's occasional sarcasm. "Why did you really hire me?" she asked over dessert, emboldened by the informal setting. "The truth this time." Ryan considered her question. "Most people in my position are surrounded by yes men. It's refreshing to have someone who calls out my mistakes." "So I'm the court jester?" "You're someone who sees me as a person, not just a position." His honesty surprised them both. The conversation shifted to personal histories, her struggle through college, his unexpected inheritance of the company after his father's death. By the time they returned to their room, something had shifted between them, a new understanding that transcended their professional relationship. The next morning, they were finally able to fly back. As they approached the office building, Ryan seemed to resume his CEO persona, the easy rapport of Detroit fading behind professional walls. Victoria was waiting in Ryan's office, her smile tightening when she saw Olivia. "How was Chicago?" "Oh wait, you went to Detroit instead. So strange about those cancellations." "Very strange," Ryan agreed, his tone neutral. "Fortunately, we secured the Westbrook contract while there." Victoria's smile faltered. "Westbrook? But they've refused to meet with us for months." "Apparently, they appreciated our persistence in coming to them," Ryan replied. "Olivia's presentation convinced them." Victoria's eyes darted between them. "How convenient." After she left, Olivia asked, "Do you think she was behind the cancellations?" "Victoria plays the long game," Ryan replied cryptically. "Always has." Over the next week, Olivia noticed subtle changes. Important emails mysteriously disappeared from her inbox. Meeting times were changed without her knowledge. A key presentation she prepared showed formatting errors when opened on the conference room computer. Each incident made her look incompetent, yet none could be directly traced to Sabotage. Ryan seemed increasingly frustrated by these mistakes. Then came the major investor pitch. Olivia had stayed late 3 nights preparing, checking every detail obsessively. Yet when she opened the file during the meeting, the numbers were completely wrong, projections showing losses instead of gains. "What is this?" Ryan demanded as investors exchanged concerned glances. "I don't understand," Olivia stammered. "This isn't what I prepared," Victoria smoothly interjected. "Fortunately, I anticipated problems and brought my copy." She distributed pristine presentations, earning grateful nods from everyone except Olivia, who sat frozen in humiliation. After the investors left, Ryan closed his office door. "What happened out there?" "Someone altered my presentation," Olivia insisted. "The original showed 15% growth projections." "This isn't the first mistake," Ryan countered. "The Hendricks meeting, the missing Davidson report, now this." Those weren't mistakes either. Someone is sabotaging me. Do you have proof? She didn't. And the doubt in Ryan's eyes hurt more than Victoria's smug smile. Olivia left Ryan's office with her head held high, but inside, she was crumbling. The humiliation of the investor meeting still burned, and Ryan's doubt cut deeper than she wanted to admit. She'd worked tirelessly to prove herself, yet somehow ended up looking incompetent at every turn. Back at her desk, she tried to focus on damage control, but the whispers and glances from colleagues made concentration impossible. Everyone had heard about the presentation disaster. "Don't let them see you sweat," Diana whispered, placing a coffee on her desk. "Victoria's been gloating all morning." "I didn't make those mistakes," Olivia insisted quietly. "Someone sabotaged my work." Diana glanced around before leaning closer. "I believe you. Victoria did this to Ryan's last assistant too. The poor girl quit after a month. Why does she have it out for me specifically?" "Because Ryan looks at you differently," Diana said simply. "And Victoria notices everything." Before Olivia could ask more, her computer chimed with an email from Ryan: "Meeting in my office, 5 p.m. sharp. We need to discuss your performance." The rest of the day passed in a fog of anxiety. At precisely 5 p.m., Olivia knocked on Ryan's door, preparing for the worst. "Come in," he called. Ryan sat behind his desk, his expression unreadable. Victoria stood by the window, a barely concealed smile playing on her lips. "You wanted to see me?" Olivia kept her voice steady. "Yes," Ryan replied. "I've been reviewing your recent work. The pattern of errors is concerning." "I understand how it looks," Olivia began. "But let me finish," he interrupted. "These mistakes have cost us time and potentially damaged our reputation with key investors." Victoria stepped forward. "Ryan, I hate to say it, but I warned you about rushing into this promotion. Not everyone is cut out for high-pressure roles." Olivia felt her cheeks burn. "With all due respect, Ms. Hayes, I don't believe these were mistakes." Victoria raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "Are you implying someone deliberately sabotaged your work?" "Yes," Olivia replied, meeting her gaze directly. "I am." The room fell silent. Ryan looked between them, tension visible in his jaw. "That's a serious accusation," he finally said. "Do you have proof?" Olivia faltered. "Not concrete evidence, but the timing and nature of these incidents, so just speculation." Victoria cut in smoothly. "Perhaps it's easier to blame others than admit to your own shortcomings." Ryan pinched the bridge of his nose. "Victoria, please give us a moment." Victoria looked surprised but composed herself quickly. "Of course." She brushed past Olivia, whispering just loudly enough to be heard. "I hope the unemployment office isn't too busy this month." When the door closed, Ryan sighed deeply. "Olivia, I want to believe you, but without evidence, you think I'd sabotage my own work? That I'd humiliate myself in front of investors on purpose?" Frustration edged her voice. "Of course not," Ryan replied. "But mistakes happen, especially under pressure." "Not these mistakes. Not all at once." Olivia stepped closer to his desk. "Ryan, look at my work before these incidents. Have I ever made similar errors?" He hesitated. "No." "Then why would I suddenly become incompetent in exactly the ways that make me look worst?" Ryan's expression softened slightly. "What are you suggesting I do? Fire Victoria based on your suspicions?" "I'm not asking you to fire anyone. I'm asking you to trust me. Give me one more chance to prove myself." Ryan studied her for a long moment. "The Harrison presentation is next week. It's our biggest potential client this quarter. If anything goes wrong, it won't," Olivia promised. "I'll handle everything personally." "Fine," he conceded. "One more chance." When she returned to her desk, Olivia found her computer screen filled with error messages. Someone had attempted to access her files while she was in Ryan's office. The sabotage was getting bolder. That night, instead of going home, she worked late, rebuilding the Harrison presentation from scratch. She password protected every file and saved backups on her personal drive. As she worked, determination replaced hurt. If Victoria wanted a fight, she'd get one. What Olivia didn't notice was Ryan watching her from his office doorway, his expression troubled as he observed her dedication. For the first time, doubt about Victoria began to creep into his mind. The week leading up to the Harrison presentation was the most stressful of Olivia's life. She took unprecedented precautions, working from her personal laptop, creating multiple backups, and even sleeping at the office 2 nights to guard her materials. Each morning, she found subtle signs of intrusion, moved papers, shifted folders, her chair at a slightly different angle. Victoria was getting desperate, which meant Olivia was getting closer to exposing her. The day before the presentation, Diana quietly placed a coffee on Olivia's desk. "Victoria's been in early meetings with Ryan all week," she whispered. "Closed door. Very intense." "About what?" Olivia asked, anxiety spiking. "No one knows, but she looked smug afterward." That afternoon, Ryan called Olivia into his office. She steeled herself, expecting another confrontation, but was surprised to find him alone, looking strangely conflicted. "Is everything okay?" she asked cautiously. Ryan gestured for her to sit. "The Harrison presentation tomorrow. I've been thinking it might be better if Victoria handles it." Olivia felt like she'd been slapped. "You're pulling me from the presentation? After I've spent weeks preparing?" "It's not about your capabilities," Ryan said, not meeting her eyes. "Victoria has a prior relationship with Harrison. It makes strategic sense. This is Victoria's doing, isn't it?" Olivia struggled to keep her voice steady. "She's convinced you to sideline me." "This isn't personal, Olivia. It's business." Those words stung worse than any accusation. "Everything about this is personal," she countered. "Victoria has been systematically undermining me since day one because she sees me as a threat." "A threat to what?" Ryan asked, his tone sharpening. "To her position with you," Olivia replied without hesitation. "Both professionally and personally." Ryan's expression hardened. "You're overstepping, Miss Thompson." The formal address wasn't lost on Olivia. Whatever connection they developed in Detroit had evidently been rewritten in her absence. Victoria's influence was complete. "Fine," she said, rising from her chair. "Victoria can handle the presentation. But before I go, answer me one question. Why did you really hire me?" Ryan remained silent. "Was it just to prove a point to Victoria? Or was I actually an experiment in how quickly you could build someone up before watching them fall?" "That's unfair," he finally said. "No, what's unfair is letting someone sabotage my career because you're too blinded by history to see what's happening right in front of you." She turned to leave, but Ryan's voice stopped her. "Olivia, wait." She paused at the door, not turning around. "I never meant for any of this to happen," he said quietly. "But you let it happen anyway." With that, she walked out, closing the door behind her. At her desk, Olivia found an email from HR requesting her presence first thing tomorrow morning. So that was it. Victoria had won. She was being fired. She gathered her personal items, ignoring the pitying glances from colleagues. Before leaving, she made one final copy of her Harrison presentation and slipped it into an envelope with a note that read, "The truth, should you ever want to see it." She left it on Ryan's desk when she knew he was in a meeting, her last act of defiance. That night, alone in her apartment, Olivia allowed herself to cry for the first time since this nightmare began. Not for the job she'd lost, but for the connection with Ryan that had felt so real before Victoria poisoned it. The next morning, she arrived at the office early, head held high despite the hollowness in her chest. If she was going down, it would be with dignity. Outside the HR office, she took a deep breath and knocked. "Come in," called a voice that wasn't the HR director's. Confused, Olivia opened the door to find Ryan sitting alone at the conference table, her presentation materials spread before him, including the final copy she'd left on his desk. "Please sit," he said, his expression unreadable. Olivia remained standing. "I thought I was meeting with HR." "That email wasn't from HR," Ryan admitted. It was from me. I needed to see you without Victoria knowing. Olivia crossed her arms. Why? Ryan pushed a folder toward her. Because I found this. Inside was a series of emails from Victoria's account, detailing her systematic campaign against Olivia, altered files, changed meeting times, deleted emails, and altered presentations. How did you get these? Olivia asked, stunned. IT found evidence of tampering on your computer. When I authorized a deeper investigation, they traced it back to Victoria's account. He looked genuinely remorseful. You were right, and I was blind. So what happens now? Olivia asked, still staring at the damning evidence against Victoria. Ryan stood, walking to the window before turning to face her. The Harrison presentation is in 2 hours. Victoria still thinks she's leading it. And I want you to take it back. His expression was determined. I want you to walk in there and show everyone exactly why I hired you. Olivia hesitated. What about Victoria? Leave Victoria to me. Ryan's tone left little doubt about the seriousness of his intent. She crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. She's your business partner, Olivia reminded him. Confronting her could damage the company. Ryan approached her, stopping just close enough that she could see the intensity in his eyes. Some things are more important than business, Olivia. The weight of his words hung between them, loaded with implications neither was ready to voice. Okay, she finally agreed. I'll do the presentation. Ryan's relief was visible. Thank you. And Olivia. I'm sorry I didn't believe you sooner. She nodded, not quite ready to forgive but willing to move forward. I need to prepare. As Olivia left, she felt lighter than she had in weeks. The truth was finally coming to light. The conference room was packed when Olivia arrived for the presentation. Harrison Incorporated was sending their entire executive team. This account could transform Blackwood's future. Victoria sat at Ryan's right hand, looking confident in a sharp crimson suit. When she spotted Olivia entering with presentation materials, her smile faltered momentarily before she recovered. Olivia, I thought we agreed I would handle this presentation. Actually, Ryan interjected smoothly, I've reconsidered. Olivia developed this proposal from the ground up. She should present it. Victoria's eyes flashed with barely concealed rage. Ryan, we discussed this. My relationship with Harrison is precisely why you should observe today. Ryan finished firmly. Fresh perspective, remember? Before Victoria could protest further, the Harrison team arrived. Introductions were made, and Olivia took her position at the head of the table. As she began her presentation, she could feel Victoria's icy stare, but she refused to be intimidated. The presentation was flawless. Olivia had anticipated every question, prepared for every concern. The Harrison executives were clearly impressed, nodding appreciatively at her innovative approach to their partnership. When she finished, Harrison's CEO, a stern woman named Elaine, stood to shake her hand. Exceptional work, Miss Thompson. Your attention to detail is exactly what we look for in partners. Thank you, Olivia replied, relief washing over her. We've put considerable thought into making this partnership beneficial for both companies. As the Harrison team filed out with promises of good news soon, Victoria remained seated, her posture rigid with fury. When the door closed behind the last executive, she turned to Ryan. What was that? She demanded. You undermined me in front of potential clients. The way you undermined Olivia for weeks? Ryan countered, his voice dangerously quiet. We have the evidence, Victoria. Emails, login records, everything. Victoria's face paled. You went through my emails? That's invasion of privacy. Company servers, company business. Ryan replied coldly. You deliberately sabotaged an employee because of your personal feelings. Victoria's composure cracked. My personal feelings? What about yours? You promoted her after one day. Because you were attracted to her. Olivia flinched at the accusation, but Ryan remained calm. I promoted her because she's competent, direct, and fearless. Everything we value at this company. He paused. Everything you used to be before jealousy clouded your judgment. Victoria stood abruptly. You're making a mistake, Ryan. We built this company together. And now you're trying to tear it apart. Ryan's expression was resolute. I want your resignation by end of day. Victoria laughed bitterly. You'd choose her over me? After everything we've been through? This isn't about choosing anyone. It's about integrity. Something you've clearly forgotten. Victoria gathered her things with trembling hands. At the door, she turned to Olivia. Enjoy it while it lasts. You're just the latest distraction. After she left, silence filled the room. Olivia exhaled slowly, the tension of weeks finally releasing from her shoulders. Thank you, she said quietly, for believing me. Ryan's expression softened. I should have believed you sooner. He hesitated. Would you have dinner with me tonight? Not as my assistant. Not to discuss work. Olivia met his gaze. Then as what? As someone I want to get to know better. Without titles or office politics between us. Olivia considered his offer. On one condition. Name it. We go somewhere normal. No five-star restaurants where salads cost more than my rent. Ryan smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. I know just the place. That evening, Ryan took Olivia to a small Italian restaurant tucked away on a side street, the kind of place with checkered tablecloths and family photos on the walls. No maitre d', no reserved tables, just honest food and a warm atmosphere. How did you find this place? Olivia asked as they settled into a corner booth. It was my father's favorite, Ryan replied, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. Before Blackwood became what it is today, he'd bring clients here. Said you learn more about people over pasta than in boardrooms. An elderly man approached their table, his face lighting up. Ryan Mitchell! Too busy for us these days, eh? Ryan stood, embracing the man. Marco, good to see you. This is Olivia Thompson. Marco turned to her with a warm smile. Ah, beautiful. You bring a date, not business? Finally! It's not, Olivia began, feeling her cheeks warm. It is, Ryan interrupted softly. A date. Marco clapped his hands together. Wonderful! I bring special menu, just for you. After he left, Olivia raised an eyebrow. So it's a date now? I'd like it to be, Ryan admitted. Unless you're having second thoughts? Olivia considered the events of recent weeks, the challenges, the sabotage, the vindication. It's complicated, isn't it? You're still technically my boss. About that, Ryan leaned forward. I was thinking of creating a new position. Director of Client Relations. Olivia blinked. Another promotion? Not a promotion, he clarified. A lateral move to a different department. You'd report to the board, not directly to me. You've thought this through. I have. His eyes held hers. Victoria was right about one thing. I was attracted to you from the beginning. But that's not why I hired you or promoted you. Then why did you? Because you challenged me. You didn't see Ryan Mitchell, CEO. You saw a man who needed to fix a computer. He smiled at the memory. Do you know how refreshing that was? Their food arrived, Marco insisting on serving them personally, and the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Ryan shared stories of growing up in his father's shadow, and Olivia spoke about her journey through college while working 2 jobs. As the evening progressed, Olivia realized this was the most authentic interaction they'd had. No power dynamics, no office politics, just 2 people genuinely enjoying each other's company. What happened with Victoria? She finally asked as they shared tiramisu. Ryan's expression darkened slightly. She resigned, as requested. The board will be informed of her departure tomorrow. Will the company be okay? Blackwood existed before Victoria Hayes. It will continue without her. He paused. Though I suspect she won't go quietly. What do you mean? Victoria doesn't accept defeat gracefully. She'll try to cause problems. Olivia set down her fork. Is that why you created this new position? To protect me from potential fallout? Partly, Ryan admitted. But mostly because you've earned it. The Harrison presentation proved that. After dinner, Ryan walked her to her apartment building. The night air was cool, stars visible between city skyscrapers. They paused at the entrance, that awkward moment of first date uncertainty hanging between them. "Thank you for tonight," Olivia said. "It was nice to see the real Ryan Mitchell." "Is that who I was? The real me?" "I think so." She smiled. "Much better than CEO Ryan or IT guy Ryan." He laughed, then grew serious. "Olivia, whatever happens with work, with Victoria, I want you to know I value what's starting between us." "What is starting between us?" she asked quietly. Instead of answering with words, Ryan leaned down, his lips meeting hers in a gentle, questioning kiss. Olivia responded, her hand resting lightly on his chest, feeling his heartbeat quicken beneath her palm. When they separated, both slightly breathless, Ryan whispered, "Something worth fighting for, I think." As Olivia watched him walk away, she realized that what had begun as a mortifying mistake might just be the best thing that ever happened to her. Neither noticed the sleek car parked across the street, nor the woman inside watching them with cold, calculating eyes. Victoria Hayes wasn't finished with them yet. The announcement of Victoria's departure sent shockwaves through Blackwood Enterprises. Though Ryan provided no official reason, office gossip quickly filled the gaps. Some speculated she'd been caught embezzling, others whispered about a power struggle. Only a few insiders knew the truth. Olivia stepped into her new role as Director of Client Relations with determination. Though some employees viewed her rapid ascent with suspicion, her success with the Harrison account, which signed a record-breaking contract, quickly silenced many critics. 2 weeks after Victoria's resignation, Olivia and Ryan maintained professional distance at work while carefully nurturing their personal relationship after hours. They agreed to keep things private until the office adjusted to the recent changes. On a particularly busy Tuesday, Olivia was reviewing client contracts when her assistant delivered an elegant envelope. "This came for you," she said. Hand-delivered. Inside was an invitation to Blackwood's annual charity gala, the company's most prestigious event where investors, clients, and media gathered. A handwritten note from Ryan was attached. "I'd like you to attend as my date. No more hiding." Olivia smiled, tracing her fingers over his bold handwriting. Going public with their relationship was a significant step, particularly at such a high-profile event. That afternoon, she stopped by Ryan's office. "I got your invitation." He looked up, his expression brightening. "And? It's a statement, Ryan. Everyone will be watching." "That's the point," he replied. "I'm tired of pretending we're just colleagues." She leaned against his desk. "What about the board? Won't they have concerns about us dating?" "I've already spoken with them," Ryan admitted. "They were surprisingly supportive, especially after the Harrison deal." He reached for her hand. "So? Will you come with me?" "Yes," she answered, squeezing his hand before releasing it. "But we should be prepared for reactions. Not everyone will be happy." Ryan's expression darkened slightly. "You're thinking about Victoria. She hasn't surfaced since she left. Doesn't that worry you?" "Honestly? Yes," he sighed. "But we can't live waiting for her next move." As the gala approached, Olivia divided her time between work responsibilities and preparations for the event. She splurged on a stunning emerald gown that made her feel confident and elegant, ready to face whatever the evening might bring. The night of the gala, Ryan picked her up in his car, his expression appreciative as she opened the door. "You look incredible," he said simply. "Not so bad yourself," she replied, admiring his classic tuxedo. They arrived at the hotel where the event was being held, joining the line of luxury cars discharging elegantly dressed attendees. As Ryan helped her from the car, Olivia felt the familiar flutter of nerves. "Ready?" he asked, offering his arm. "As I'll ever be," she replied with a small smile. The grand ballroom was transformed with cascading lights and floral arrangements. As they entered together, conversations paused, heads turned, and whispers immediately began. Ryan kept his hand at the small of her back, a subtle but unmistakable gesture of intimacy. Mr. Mitchell! A photographer approached. A photo for the company newsletter? Ryan looked to Olivia for permission. She nodded, and they posed together, his arm around her waist. The flashbulb captured the moment their relationship became officially public. As they circulated, Olivia was relieved to find mostly warm receptions. The board chairman even winked at her during a conversation. About time Mitchell found someone to keep him in line, he murmured. Mid-evening, Ryan was called away to greet important investors, leaving Olivia briefly alone. She was admiring the elaborate ice sculpture when a familiar voice froze her in place. Enjoying your triumph? Olivia turned slowly to find Victoria Hayes watching her, elegant as ever in a sleek black gown, a champagne flute dangling from her manicured fingers. Victoria, she acknowledged evenly. I didn't know you'd be here. I'm still a shareholder, Victoria replied with a thin smile. And I wouldn't miss this for the world. What do you want? Olivia asked directly. Victoria stepped closer. To congratulate you, of course. You've achieved everything you wanted, my position, my company, my man. Her voice hardened on the last word. Ryan was never yours, Olivia replied quietly. So naive. Victoria's laugh held no humor. You think you're special? You're just the latest in a long line of women he'll grow tired of. Before Olivia could respond, Victoria pressed something into her hand. A little gift. For the happy couple. With a final cold smile, she glided away through the crowd. Olivia looked down to find a USB drive in her palm. Her heart raced as she closed her fingers around it, uncertain what new threat it might contain. The USB drive burned in Olivia's hand like a live coal. Her mind raced with possibilities, each more troubling than the last. She scanned the room for Ryan, spotting him across the ballroom deep in conversation with investors. Before she could reach him, the evening's formal program began. The company's achievements were highlighted, key partnerships celebrated, and then Ryan was called to the stage to deliver the keynote address. Under normal circumstances, Olivia would have been captivated by his commanding presence. Tonight, the USB drive weighed heavily in her clutch as she struggled to focus on his words. When thunderous applause signaled the speech's conclusion, she exhaled in relief. Ryan found her moments later, his eyes questioning. Everything okay? You look pale. We need to talk, she whispered. Victoria's here. His expression darkened. What did she do? Olivia discreetly showed him the drive. She gave me this. Called it a gift for the happy couple. Ryan's jaw tightened. Let's step outside. They slipped onto a quiet terrace overlooking the city lights. Ryan produced his laptop from his briefcase, and they huddled together as he inserted the drive. A single video file appeared. Ryan hesitated before double-clicking it. Victoria's face filled the screen, her smile calculated. Hello, lovebirds. If you're watching this, you've officially gone public with your little romance. How sweet. Her expression hardened. Ryan, you chose this woman over our partnership, over our history. That was a mistake. The video cut to security footage, Olivia and Ryan in his office, their first awkward meeting when she'd mistaken him for IT support. Then came more clips, their dinner at the restaurant, their kiss outside her apartment. You've been watching us? Olivia whispered, horrified. Victoria continued. I've sent similar footage to the board with my analysis of how Ryan has systematically promoted his love interest through company ranks. Sexual harassment suits are so expensive these days, aren't they? The media will have a field day. The video ended with Victoria's smirking face. You have one option. Ryan steps down as CEO, recommending me as his replacement, citing personal reasons. Olivia leaves the company altogether. You have until midnight to decide. The screen went dark. Silence stretched between them as the implications sank in. She can't do this, Olivia finally whispered. It's blackmail. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. The footage is real, but her interpretation twists everything. It would still damage the company, Olivia said, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. Your reputation. I don't care about my reputation, Ryan replied fiercely. But I care about your company. Olivia's voice broke slightly. I won't let her destroy what you've built because of me. Ryan cupped her face gently. Listen to me, Olivia. Nothing is worth losing you. Not this company, not my position. Nothing. The raw emotion in his voice stunned her. This was no longer the calculating CEO she'd first encountered, but a man willing to risk everything for someone he loved. Then we fight, she decided, strength returning to her voice. Together. They returned to the ballroom where the party continued, oblivious to the drama unfolding. Ryan immediately sought out the board chairman, explaining the situation in hushed tones while Olivia stood beside him, chin lifted defiantly. The chairman listened gravely before nodding. We suspected Victoria might attempt something like this. Her behavior had grown increasingly erratic before her departure. You knew? Ryan asked, surprised. We've been on this board for years, Mitchell. We see more than you think. The chairman glanced at Olivia with approval. Including how this young woman turned around the Harrison account after Victoria's sabotage. He summoned the other board members to an impromptu meeting in a private room. Victoria, noticing the gathering, approached with confident steps. Made your decision already? She asked coolly. We have, Ryan replied, holding the door open. Please join us. Inside, Victoria's confidence wavered as she faced the solemn board members, all aware of her blackmail attempt. Ms. Hayes, the chairman began. Blackmail is not only unethical but illegal. The board has unanimously voted to remove you as a shareholder, effective immediately. Victoria paled. You can't do that. Your shareholder agreement has a moral turpitude clause, he continued. Your actions have triggered it. This is all because of her. Victoria pointed accusingly at Olivia. Ryan stepped forward. No, Victoria. This is because of you. Your jealousy. Your manipulation. Your inability to accept that some things aren't about power or control. Like what? She spat. Like love, he said simply, taking Olivia's hand. Victoria laughed bitterly. Love? You don't know the meaning of the word. I didn't, Ryan agreed. Until I met someone who saw past all of this. He gestured to the opulent surroundings. And just saw me. Security arrived to escort Victoria from the premises. As she was led away, she turned one last time to Olivia. You think you've won? This isn't over. Actually, it is, Olivia replied calmly. Goodbye, Victoria. When they were alone again, Ryan pulled Olivia close. I meant what I said in there. About love. Olivia searched his eyes. Did you? From that first day when you ordered me to fix a computer, something changed. You challenged me, frustrated me, inspired me. He smiled ruefully. It wasn't the conventional way to fall in love, but then again, nothing about us has been conventional. Olivia laughed softly. From mistaken identity to blackmail in just a few months. We do move fast. Ryan's expression grew serious. I don't want to waste any more time. Life is too unpredictable, too precious. He took her hands in his. Olivia Thompson, will you continue challenging me, frustrating me, and inspiring me for the rest of our lives? Tears welled in her eyes as she recognized the unspoken question. Are you asking what I think you're asking? Not officially. Not yet, he clarified with a smile. But soon. Very soon. Under the glittering lights of the ballroom, surrounded by the company they'd both fought to protect, Olivia and Ryan sealed their promise with a kiss. No longer CEO and assistant, but equals in a partnership forged through adversity and strengthened by love. I almost feel sorry for Victoria, Olivia murmured against his lips. Why's that? Because she never understood that real power isn't about control. It's about finding someone who makes you better than you ever thought you could be. Ryan smiled, drawing her closer. Well, Miss Thompson, I believe that's the wisest thing anyone's ever said in this company. As they rejoined the gala, hand in hand, Olivia reflected on the incredible journey that had begun with a simple case of mistaken identity. Sometimes, the greatest love stories start with the most embarrassing moments and end with the most beautiful promises.